Hello, let us look at a few questions from Algebra 2 and Trigonometry. Here, so first question, what we have to do is find the exact value that satisfies the given equation. As you can see, we have cosine and sine together. I think it would be great if you can have the same sines or same cosines. But one thing that which we get to realize is this. Here we'll be using cosine squared theta is equal to 1 minus sine squared theta. So if you have to substitute this one into this location, we'll end up getting something like this. 4 times 1 minus sine squared theta plus 4 sine theta minus 5 equal to 0. Now in this case, what we end up getting is this negative 4 sine squared theta, as 4 being distributed here, and plus 4 sine theta, and we have plus 4 and minus 5 becomes minus 1 equal to 0. Now if you multiply everything by negative sign, we end up having 4 sine squared theta minus 4 sine theta plus 1 equals to 0. And you can factor this one. That's right. We'll end up getting 2 sine theta minus 1 squared is equal to 0. This tells us that sine theta has to be equal to 1/2. Then for what value of angle would you have sine ratio to become 1/2 when the angle is 30 degrees or 150 degrees? Alright, how about the second one? Once again, sine square. By using sine square plus cosine square equals 1, we can rewrite this one as 1 minus cosine squared theta plus 3 cosine theta minus 3 equals to 0. How are we going to do this? So negative 2 cosine squared theta plus 3 cosine theta, and plus 2 minus 3 becomes minus 1 equals to 0. Now once you multiply everything by negative, then we end up having 2 cosine squared theta minus 3 cosine theta plus 1 equals to 0. Then we can factor this one by 2 cosine theta minus 1 and cosine theta minus 1. And here we have cosine theta has to be equal to 1/2, while here cosine theta has to be equal to 1. Then this tells us that angle theta has to be equal to, that's right, 60 degrees or 300 degrees. Now when do you have cosine to be equal to 1? That's right, when we have 0 degrees. Alright, how about here? Since cotangent is 1 over tangent, we get to have 3 tangent theta is equal to 1 over tangent theta. Then once you cross multiply and divide by 3, then we end up having tangent squared theta will be equal to 1 over 3. Then as you can see, tangent theta will be equal to plus or minus square root of 1 over 3. Once you simplify this one, we end up getting plus or minus radical 3 over 3. When do you have tangent ratio to be this way? Since it's plus or minus, it's going to be on all 4 quadrant, and reference angle seems to be 30. So therefore, angle theta will be equal to 30 degrees, 150 degrees, and then we have 210 degrees and 330 degrees. Alright, those are our answers. Okay, they want us to find the value of, now here in this case, this becomes cosine of 2 theta actually has 3. They're all the same, but different looks of the identity. So cosine of 2 theta in fact is equal to 1 minus 2 sine squared theta, and then plus sine squared theta has to be equal to 1. You can subtract 1 from each side, then these two will cancel out, and here we end up having simply negative sine squared theta. is equal to 0. Then obviously sine squared theta has to be equal to 0. That makes sine theta equal to 0. What is theta? Theta has to be 90 or 270 degrees. Oh no, my bad. Not 90, sorry. It has to be 0 degrees or 180 degrees. Now, in fact, in this case, since we are including 360, the third answer will be 360 degrees. Alright, let us move on. Here, sine of half theta. Then that's equal to square root of 1 minus cosine theta over 2 is equal to cosine theta. What we can do is we can square both sides and then multiply by 2. Then we get 1 minus cosine theta will be equal to 2 cosine squared theta. Bring everything onto one side. We get 0 equals 2 cosine squared theta plus cosine theta minus 1. Then here we have 2 cosine theta and cosine theta here. And to have the positive theta, we gotta have positive 1 here while negative 1 over here. Then we get to realize that cosine theta has to be equal to either 1/2 or negative 1. When do you have cosine theta to be equal to 1/2? When theta is equal to 60 degrees or the fourth quadrant, which is 300 degrees. Or cosine to be negative 1, yes, that's when 180 degrees. Let us look at the next question. Here, 2 sine 2 theta. Sine 2 theta, in fact, can be rewritten as this, times 2 sine theta times cosine theta, plus sine theta is equal to 0. We can factorize sine theta, then we will realize sine theta times 4 cosine theta plus 1. Now, is equal to 0. Find the all radian measures of theta. Okay, expression if when possible, otherwise to the nearest hundredth. So here we have sine theta has to be equal to 0. When do we have sine theta is equal to 0? That's right, either 0 or pi. So 0 radian or pi radian. Here we have cosine theta has to be equal to negative 1/4. Now to calculate this one, I'm going to take out the calculator. Now, we're just going to wait just a little bit. Since cosine is negative, we will realize that our value will be on the second or third quadrant. So we're going to have second cosine of negative 1/4. Now, I believe it is in the radian mode, so there it goes. So that's basically what we have, which is 1.82. Now, 1.82 is a bit more than a pi over 2, which is 1.5, around 1.5-ish. So this will be the value on the third quadrant. So therefore, another value which we can write it is 1.82 to the nearest hundredth. Now, but the thing is, the reference angle will be this, simply pi minus the previous answer. In fact, 1.31. This becomes the reference angle. So in another angle that will be on the third quadrant has to be add on to this value, so pi. Then we'll end up having 4.46. 4.46. There it goes. Those are our answers. How about the next question? Here we have cosine square theta, but here we can express this one in terms of cosine also. So therefore we have here negative 2, and then 2 cosine squared theta, and minus 1. Then this becomes 2 cosine squared theta plus 3 sine theta and is equal to 1. If I have to rewrite this one, then we'll end up having 3 sine theta minus 2 cosine squared theta, because I have minus 4 while this one is 2. And this becomes plus 2 equals 1. But once again, cosine squared theta is 1 minus sine. So what we like to do is 3 sine theta minus 2 times 1 minus sine squared theta to make the everything in terms of sine, plus 2 equals to 1. Now, negative 2 times 1 becomes negative 2, while with the positive 2, those two will cancel out. Then what we end up having is 3, and this becomes 2 sine squared theta plus 3 sine theta, and then we end up having minus 1 equals to 0. Now, in fact, you will realize that this is not factorable. So, one other thing which we can do is we can simply, let me see this 1 second here. One other thing which we can do is simply put this one into the quadratic formula. Then, sine theta will be equal to negative 3 plus or minus square root of 9 minus 4a, which is 2. C will be equal to negative 1, which makes this one into positive over 4. Then here we have negative 3 plus or minus square root of 17, because this is 8 over 4. Now, sine cannot be negative 3 minus square root of 17 over 4, because this will be less than negative 1. So that's not possible. Only thing that's possible will be sine theta has to be equal to negative 3 plus square root of 17 over 4. Let's try to figure that out. So second sine of negative parentheses negative 3 plus square root of 17 and then close it, divide by 4. Then we get this value, 0.28. So one answer was theta is equal to 0.28. Now another angle would have been on the second quadrant. That's pi over 2 minus that. So pi over 2 minus the previous answer. That's 1.28 or 29, I guess. So we can write it as 1.29 as our answer. Alright, that's it. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.